YouTube title: Shadow over Epworth, Tagwirei accused of buying votes with fake charity, Mwonzora drops a bombshell. YouTube description: Douglas Mwonzora sounds the alarm in Zimbabwe's Epworth, accusing controversial tycoon Kudakwashe Tagwirei of manipulating votes with money and fake charity stunts. Is this philanthropy or political hijacking in disguise? Dive into this explosive exposé. Epworth, a township already suffocating under the weight of poverty and neglect, has suddenly become a theater of dramatic political tension and shadowy benevolence. At the heart of this brewing storm stands a name as polarizing as the Zimbabwean politics he's allegedly manipulating, Kudakwashe Tagwirei. For weeks, residents have been treated to a string of miraculous interventions: boreholes drilled overnight, food hampers distributed like election flyers, and brand new buses rolling into dusty streets. But opposition leader Douglas Mwonzora isn't clapping. He's calling foul. Loudly. In a stunning accusation that has sent ripples across Zimbabwe's political spectrum, Mwonzora has openly accused Tagwirei of deploying his vast wealth under the guise of charity to hijack the political soul of Epworth. According to the MDC-T president, this is not about community upliftment. This is about power. Raw, unfiltered power dressed up in a Santa Claus suit. Mwonzora, never one to pull punches when he sees what he calls a political fraud, says the timing of Tagwirei's sudden interest in Epworth is more than suspicious. For years, the people of Epworth have been abandoned by those in power, neglected, ignored, and forgotten. Now, with the by-election looming, a billionaire businessman arrives with gifts and grins, cameras rolling, and PR teams in tow. Why now? Why Epworth? This is not charity. This is bribery, Mwonzora declared in a heated address. The people of Epworth are not guinea pigs for political experiments or pawns to be bought with handouts. What we are witnessing is a hijack of democracy, financed by someone with deep pockets and deeper political ambitions. To those familiar with Zimbabwean politics, Tagwirei's name triggers a range of emotions. Revered in ZANU-PF circles as a loyalist and economic powerhouse, and reviled in opposition circles as a symbol of crony capitalism and opaque dealings, Tagwirei has long walked the tightrope between business and politics. His close ties to the ruling elite and his controversial presence on Western sanctions lists have only added to the mystique and mistrust surrounding him. But in Epworth, his actions speak louder than his reputation. Trucks bearing his name are offloading aid in a region where government assistance has been inconsistent at best. New roads are being promised, and youth employment schemes are suddenly being fast-tracked. It's philanthropy on steroids. And Mwonzora is not buying it. In his fiery denunciation, Mwonzora pointed out that true charity is consistent and sustainable, not coincidentally timed with an election calendar. You don't remember people when there's a vote to win. You remember them every day, every week, every year. Otherwise, it's not love. It's manipulation, he said. Adding further weight to the accusations is the lack of transparency surrounding the funds being used. No clear NGO, no known foundation, no audited paper trail, just Tagwirei's brand, bold and unmistakable. For opposition voices, it's a dangerous mix of money and mystery. Local residents, caught in the crossfire of political giants, are torn. On one hand, they welcome the boreholes, the food, the transport, the daily necessities they've been starved of. On the other hand, many whisper about strings attached, about a vote being expected in return. It's a silent exchange, unsaid but deeply understood. They say it's help, one resident confessed anonymously. But everyone knows who to vote for now. If you don't, maybe the help disappears. This form of soft coercion, what Mwonzora terms economic intimidation, is not new in Zimbabwe. But the sheer scale and boldness of what's unfolding in Epworth is unprecedented. It's no longer just vote buying with a few meal packs, it's an entire infrastructure being erected overnight with political objectives masked as compassion. What makes this episode even more chilling is the deafening silence from official electoral watchdogs. The Zimbabwe Electoral Commission, often accused of partiality, has so far remained mum on the matter. Civil society is scrambling to investigate but lacks access to the funding and reach Tagwirei enjoys. The ruling party, unsurprisingly, has shrugged off the claims as baseless whining from an opposition that fears defeat. But is it really whining? Or is it a last-ditch attempt to preserve whatever is left of Zimbabwe's fledgling democracy? Mwonzora has since called on international observers and anti-corruption watchdogs to intervene, warning that if such actions go unchecked, Epworth could become a prototype, a blueprint for how elections will be bought, not won, across the nation. Today it's Epworth. Tomorrow it will be Chitangwaza. Then Mute. Then Gweru. Until every election is a mere transaction between billionaires and the ballot box, Mwonzora warned. He also accused the ruling ZANU-PF of facilitating the operation by turning a blind eye to the growing influence of business tycoons in politics. Zimbabwe is no longer being run by politicians. It's being auctioned off to the highest bidder, and right now that bidder is Kudakwashe Tagwirei. Despite the intense rhetoric, Tagwirei himself has remained silent, choosing instead to let his project speak for him. And in a country desperate for any semblance of relief, that silence may be more strategic than cowardly. The danger, however, lies in the precedent. If political legitimacy can now be bought with boreholes and buses, what hope is there for leaders who bring only ideas and not cash? If votes are sold to the highest bidder, what becomes of the voice of the ordinary Zimbabwean? As Epworth dances to the music of money, one thing is clear, that Zimbabwe's democracy is on trial. And the verdict will be felt far beyond the dusty streets of that one township. It will echo into the very soul of the nation, raising the uncomfortable question, are we building a country or selling one? For now, all eyes remain on Epworth, where the battle between billionaire benevolence and grassroots democracy rages on. The stakes are high. The truth, murky. But one thing is certain, Mwonzora's warning cannot be ignored. Not now. Not ever.